Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi barakatuh, my dear brothers, sisters, friends, and the foes out there, and welcome to another episode of the Blood Brothers podcast with your host, Dilly Hussain. Before I introduce today's guest, I want to remind all the avid podcast listeners that you can find this episode on all 3 seasons on all the major audio platforms. And if you're tuning in via YouTube, don't be cheeky. Remember to click subscribe, leave a comment, like this video. Today's guest is someone very exciting. He's joining us from Pakistan on his first UK tour. He's a motivational speaker, a life coach, a da'i, and he has a massive growing online in terms of his podcast and his YouTube channel. There's a lot more that can be said about him in terms of his accolades, and that's none other than our dear brother Sahil Adim. Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam.
Sahil bhai, how are you?
I'm great, and how are you doing?
I'm good.
Awesome.
I'm excited to have you on.
Alhamdulillah, this is me too. I'm actually kind of jittery.
Don't be jittery. I rarely buy new clothes for guests. This was a new t-shirt. Was it not, Jamal?
Yeah, it is.
I cut it everything. I didn't even iron it. Straight for Sahil bhai.
Awesome, alhamdulillah, man.
Because the believers are a mirror of one another.
Oh, mashallah. That's why I'm against this word motivational speaker. Back home where I come from, actually not just there. It started from America and all of that. This craze about motivational speaking. This is one of those things that I'm actually, trying to stop.
Why is it associated with you then?
Because whoever is holding the mic and with a bit of a mix of English and Urdu, they're called motivational speakers in Pakistan.
Do you motivate the Muslims?
Actually, at the condition that we are in right now, I'm actually trying to demotivate them out of the situation that they're actually so happy to be in.
Oh,
you know what I'm saying? So more of a, I'm actually reversing the whole life cycle.
Let me kick off today's podcast by a few warm-up questions.
Sure.
They're called quickfire. And the reason why they're quickfire is because I intentionally would like you to keep the answers brief, and I want the responses to be instinctive.
Ooh, okay.
So, I'm going to mention some celebrated figures from the Indian subcontinent, and I want you to tell me your instinctive feelings or thoughts of them.
Okay.
Dr. Israr Ahmed.
Oh, love.
Allama Muhammad Iqbal.
Light, literal, like the torch.
Abu Ala al-Mawdudi.
Oh my God. Inspiration.
Muhammad Ali Jinnah.
Father.
General Zia.
Puppet.
Tahreek Labbaik Pakistan.
I cannot quickfire this one because I'm still reading up to it because, recently I was asked this question. I didn't even know much about this.
So what's the instincts?
Good lads, don't know much about them.
PTI.
Okay, with the TLP, because this is democracy we're talking about, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm totally an anti-democracy guy. I think that's going to be the bigger part of our discussion today.
Yeah, absolutely is. So where does PTI fit into that? Because PTI,
I'll tell you, instinctively, I like PTI in a way that they've made the bigger change in the kind of people in the kind of age group that I want the change to happen. So they broke the idols.
So there is some room or space for democracy then?
No.
But they used that system to make those changes.
No, actually, because of this system, that change cannot happen. And even if they are together, if any other system was, herding them into a group or a direction, it would have been awesome.
Jamaat-e-Islam.
Again, if democracy was not there, this is the only real set of people with enough academic and intellectual vigor. But democracy is ruining them as well.
Jamiat Ulama Islam, F. I think that's Fazlur Rahman's gang, I think.
Yeah, no, I know who they are. I know. I just don't know why they're there. See, now all of these people are well intended. I'm just thinking they're inside a bigger confusion bubble of confusion, which is called democracy, and we've been sold this as one of the solutions.
So let's look at one other group outside of that bubble. The Taliban in Pakistan, not the IEA. The Taliban in Pakistan.
Yeah, I think they're created by some internal Pakistani political force because they don't really represent anything that and I speak to the Taliban. This TTP thing, it's not real. It's more of a political pawn in the local Pakistani game. It's not even close to a religious movement. Yeah, it's not. I said no.
So all of this nicely leads me to the very first question to open today's podcast, and that is, Pakistan ke matlab kya?
Yeah, Pakistan ka matlab now, alhamdulillah, is la ilaha illallah. It's been a while since this turnaround has happened. Now it's happening, alhamdulillah.
You sound very optimistic.
I am, because I see the landscape with the kind of lens that I wear. I see behavioral patterns. I see consistency. I see celebrities which were never going to exist in the last generation. I'm not talking about far away in the past. In the last generation, wouldn't even look at a minute of the kind of people that kids are reading, books and volumes of content that's being consumed from names that you mentioned. Dr. Israr is one of them. He's the one who set the, Maududi is the guy who actually, I think it's, if I had to mention someone other than Jinnah Iqbal,
Sure.
he would be Maududi.
Really?
He's the guy. Yeah. He has raised the IQ of the whole generation, like literally, by 10, 20 points. And I'm not just talking about any IQ of general skill, life skill. I'm talking about Islam. He's given that kind of sense that regular Joes in universities with who cannot really understand the bigger political system can still make sense of an Islamic solution inside Pakistan. This is, may Allah have Rahma on him, and
Ameen.
may Allah raise his ranks in Jannah, inshallah.
Ameen.
This guy is this is the guy.
So what would your response be to the fact, I would say, that there is still a strong minority, at least amongst the ruling elite, which are very secular, vehemently pro-Western? Are you telling me that does not exist in higher education institutions in Pakistan?
No, I have a different take with this. Let me tell you what's going on. In Pakistan, or in the classical Muslim mindset right now, majority of the Ahl Sunnah, the doctrine itself, which was given to Muslims as in the name of Islam, is secular. Any guy who you're ever going to meet is going to be secular in the name of Islam if he's a Muslim. These guys who don't really understand Islam that well were trained from the West or wherever they got it from, which you're talking about, the elite of politics. The fact that Muslim with the beard, with the Quran in his hand, with enough knowledge, is using that knowledge to stay away from politics is the bigger problem. And they're getting this from, literally with the Bible. This is Matthew 22 they're actually using.
Render to Caesar what belongs to Caesar.
Otherwise, Muslims should have been taken in. But this is why Maududi. Why do you think I like Maududi so much? I'm putting Maududi, on the pedestal of Jinnah when it comes out to Pakistan, because he's the only guy who rationalized the use of, or he put the word dominance inside the mind of a Muslim, that we have to dominate and control the system, even though I don't really agree to it. The technique he used, democracy, of course. But he did the kind of chessboard he had. He played whatever he could with the kind of pieces he had on the board. But classical Muslim right now, he actually believes in Matthew 22. And someone somewhere started this, because this is literally going against every single, this is causing way more problems. And the biggest problem the Muslims right now, from Tunisia to Indonesia, is that the classical Muslim mind, that madrasa trained guy with the Quran and the Hadith and the Sira, is never going to come into power. He actually evades coming into power. And then he keeps, yapping about how bad the political elite is from any country. You pick them. And then you find out what's the masjid doing. Masjid is not doing anything. Ever since October 7th, last year, I went from Australia to everywhere going with the single campaign that the masjid has fallen, because the only solution was coming, or supposed to come, from the masjid. And that is to mobilize the youth into political dominance and gain back the power.
Why are you then so optimistic on the one hand, in terms of what you observe as a sentiment gravitating towards Islam, but at the same breath saying the masajid have lost it.
Yeah.
The students of knowledge, maybe even some scholarly class, even though we don't have these terminologies in our tradition. How are you both optimistic but also saying that they failed?
Well, the kind of movement, that's an amazing question, because psychologically speaking, I can draw the patterns, and anybody can, of where the youth is actually trying to do their, math. What kind of drawing boards are they using? They're using the Islamic drawing boards, but they're running the political equation now. And Maududi has a direct role to play with this. It's not just Maududi.